Top5rapwebsite.com. You already know what's going on. Today I want to talk about Big KRIT, new album 2022, Digital Roses Don't Die. So this is what Big KRIT's 6th, 7th, 8th album in about 10 years. He debuted, and well, he debuted way back, but the first time he came on my radar was 2010 with the album KRIT Was Here, which I think I have on vinyl. The album KRIT Was Here, which I have on vinyl here. This is the full album minus Hometown Hero, which has that Adele feature. So Adele, man, clear this man's feature so we can hear Hometown Hero on streaming services. But anyway, he first came on to this scene 2010-ish. And he dropped the KRIT Was Here. Same year, Kanye dropped Dark Fantasy. He dropped the Return to Forever the next year. And he was just on this roll. And Big KRIT as a rapper, producer, you know, if you've been following the website for a while, you know, like in 2011, 2012, one of those years, I named Big KRIT Rapper of the Year. And this is sometimes I'll do this sometimes during certain years. Like Big KRIT, I named him Rapper of the Year. I believe it was 2011. And Producer of the Year, so he was both. And really the only other artist who could stand up and also claim that type of accolade, rapper and producer, Kanye West and J. Cole at the time. So, especially back then, Big KRIT, well, he still kind of is an underdog, but he's especially still newer artist. So for me to do that was a big deal, you know, for me and for the readers of my site. Other Rapper of the Years on my website, 2018, Pusha T, 2017, Young Dolph. You know, a lot of people, when I named Young Dolph Rapper of the Year 2017, people were like, huh? But he had a great 2017. And now when you look back on his career, now that he's passed, I think a lot of people now understand that. We have Big KRIT. He's also dropped a double album, which I have here. I've done a CD of the week on, Forever Is a Mighty Long Time. Nice, seamless double album. You know, it's hard in any music genre to really do a double album because it requires the reader to be engaged for so long, and you have to have so much content, and you have to be able to deliver it without feeling like you're repeating yourself and creating fatigue for the listener. So Big KRIT managed to do that. You know, some of the best rappers in the genre's history, their double albums weren't all that. You know, there's only a few key rappers who've executed it well. Tupac, All Eyes on Me, Biggie, Life After Death. When you look at Jay-Z's Blueprint 2, you know, Blueprint 2 is really not that great of an album. And I'm a Jay-Z supporter. He's probably my favorite rapper ever. Blueprint 1 is much better than Blueprint 2. You know what I mean? So it's very tough to execute a double album. KRIT has done that. He's producing the beats. He's writing the lyrics. At one point he was sound engineering and doing the mixing and the mastering, if I understand correctly. So KRIT is one of the more prolific rappers in general. He came up in that same time as J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick. You gotta put Big KRIT name in there. You gotta put Wiz Khalifa name in there. When you say J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick, you gotta say also Wiz. And for me, you gotta say Big KRIT. You gotta say Wiz because Wiz, his popularity still soared despite what Drake was doing, despite what Kendrick was doing. And his popularity and his movement, Taylor Gang, still soared and succeeded. And Big KRIT, more so on the technical side, he didn't have the mainstream success that a Wiz Khalifa or a Drake had. But technically, in terms of lyrical proficiency, in terms of songwriting, in terms of becoming a better producer, he's right up there. He's right up there. And other guys that came out during that area, like a Tyler, the Creator, also came out in that 2010-ish era. People always celebrate Tyler on, oh, he's became a much better producer. He's increased his music skills so much. We gotta give KRIT those same accolades. He's one of the most prolific, if not the most prolific Southern rapper ever in terms of solo discography. He's one of the most prolific. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to hear that because, especially if you've been following hip hop, you know, since before the 2010s, you might still look at Drake and Kendrick and KRIT as like the new guys. But these are not the new guys anymore. These guys have like 10 plus years in the game. They have more longevity than some of our legends like Big L, like Pac. like Big, who are all tragically taken from us. They have longevity, man. They might not have what Jay-Z and Kanye have, like 20, 30 years, but they're on that route. They have more longevity than most artists. So as a result, they have more music than most artists. So this Digital Roses Don't Die album, I feel like it's a continuation of KRIT just being able to deliver great music, great content that's not coming across as repetitive. I feel like this album is the perfect length. It's less than 40 minutes, 38 minutes, less than 40 minutes. He's got some interludes interwoven in there, man. It's a well-sequenced album, and he switches up his style a bit. There's a bit more singing. I remember someone on Twitter saying that, you know, they want to mess with the Big KRIT album so bad, but you know, there's so much singing and they can't get with it. They want to hear the verses. This is how you know someone doesn't appreciate soul music. If they weren't growing up around soul music or stuff like that, they'll say something like that, oh, there's too much R&B. There's really no R&B on here. He's singing. It's more soul, and he has verses. He's rapping on this album, but there is a lot of melody, which to me adds to the album and shows how versatile Big KRIT is. So my favorite song on this album, South Side of the Moon. It has this beautiful hook, nice mellow beat, and I'll play a bit right here.
I'm from South Side of the Moon. She from NY, see you soon.
So, versatile KRIT, man. Great hook, and the hooks on here, all good. South Side of the Moon, boring, where he's just rapping about being a boring guy. Well, I'm boring and you love it. Like, I hear all these things when we meet up with your friends. They're talking about all these adventures and things that they've done, but I seem so boring to them, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Great hook on, you know, boring, wet lashes and shot glasses. I'll play some of this. Listen to this beat, man. Lush. And I actually hadn't looked at the production credits, but I assume it's all done by KRIT. He usually does his own beats. So you can hear the jazzy elements, you can hear, you know, the saxophone a bit in there. Layered music. The production is not lacking, and that's the thing with Big KRIT since the very beginning, at least for me since KRIT was here. The production has always been great. Like, you talk about Children of the World, Glass House, No Wheaties. The production is all Hometown Hero. It's always been there. But on here, it's just so much more layered. There's like super jazzy elements. It sounds like live instrumentation, highs and lows, and that's another great Big KRIT produced song. Life is an EQ of highs and lows. The production is so layered. And even if you go back to KRIT was here when his production was still good, you can hear like this guy's just gotten so much better. And when you look at the interludes, there's an interlude about every 4 or 5 songs, which I think is good. It's his 5th, 16, 17 song album. Just 38 minutes though. You got 4 interludes which seem to deal with the elements. So you got the fire interlude, you got the earth interlude, water interlude, and the wind interlude. So I've gotten about 4 or 5 listens in on this album, but I haven't really figured how this fits into the album, and I really haven't been able to break down the Digital Roses Don't Die title. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm thinking so far, based on my listens, it's dealing with the idea that what happens on the internet stays on the internet. Like, once it's on the internet, like, it's really never gone, even if you delete it. There could be a screenshot, there could be an article written on it. It's there. Digital Roses Don't Die. So when people give you roses, when they give you your flowers, they're giving you credit. So I think it has something to do with that. But yeah, man, content-wise, we get introspective KRIT like we normally do. We have some playful songs like Boring. But one of the more introspective songs, track number 12, Generational, Way Down, where he's talking about not wanting to pass on his bad habits to his children. And he's questioning himself, like, what if I'm not meant to be a good parent? What if they get all my bad habits? What if he's just like me, basically? So again, you listen to that song, you hear that production, man. So yeah, I don't want to make this too long, and I'm still enjoying this album, but very well produced, almost to the point of being cinematic, especially the interludes. Produced so well, almost to the point of being cinematic. And this is track number 9, Water Interlude. We're just gonna hear some of this production and listen to what's going on here.
Water, the purest form of it all. As we reflect on the tears that form rivers in our interactions.
So yeah, man, he's got the introspective songs, he's got the more playful songs. It's a well executed album. I feel like what he set out to do, and again, I haven't completely broken down the album yet, but it feels like he accomplished exactly what he set out to do with this. It plays well front to back for me. There are no skips on here. In my 4 or 5 listens, I haven't felt the urge to skip any of these songs. It's well sequenced, the interludes are well placed. And now that I'm looking at the track list, I'm noticing that there are no rap features. So you watch this channel, you know sometimes I'll speak about the difficulty it is for a rapper and how rare it is for a rapper to take on a whole album by themselves, no other rap feature. Because you have to be able to engage your audience for X amount of time without becoming repetitive or without becoming fatigue inducing. And it's very tough even for good rappers to do that. Even if you're wordy rappers who are super lyrical, at a certain point that becomes like, okay, enough. And you've watched my reviews like a Papoose or like an Eminem, you watch these reviews on my channel, or even Boldy James, the lyrics are good, but there's not enough style for you to be doing like a 10, 15 song album. You should stick to shorter albums to where you can do your style and it doesn't become a drag on the listener. It doesn't become tiring to listen to. Big KRIT has so many styles here, and he has so much different content, and you can do so many different things on the beat production wise that you don't even recognize like I'm just listening to one person. It doesn't become an issue. And you don't feel like you need a break, like, oh, I need a feature, I need a different verse, I need a verse from this guy. I just need something to break up the monotony of what's going on. And in a lot of albums, especially you watch my reactions, that is the case. It's like, okay, especially the longer albums, like, all right, this album, he could have cut out 4 or 5 songs and this would have been a better album and he still would have been good. That's not the case with this album. Digital Roses Don't Die. So yeah, man, I'm still enjoying this album. This is longer than what I want it to be, but I mean, and that's perfect. I give Big KRIT his flowers. One of the best discographies of any artist of his generation. So his generation is KRIT, his era is Cole, J. Cole, Wiz, Wale, Currency I count as part of that era, even though he came out a little bit before. Nipsey's that era. A$AP Rocky came a little bit after them, still kind of that era. Dolph. Big KRIT has a very concise, consistent discography. You know what you're gonna get sometimes, because I didn't know, I don't even want to say that, because I didn't know I was gonna get this much harmony and melody on this album. He does it on his albums, but on this album he's kind of leading with it and kind of leaning back on the production and still dropping these great verses. It's a great album, man. I want to say it's grown-up music, but anyone can enjoy this. But I'll say it's grown-up music because to be able to appreciate what's going on in production, to be able to appreciate the variety in what he's saying, it takes a seasoned ear to fully appreciate. But even a basic ear could appreciate the hooks, the chorus, and how well everything flows within this album. So yeah, man, Big KRIT, Digital Roses Don't Die, 2022. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already. This is top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.